So a lot of you wanted me to make a more in-depth video on how I made these houses. Here goes. Before we dive in, I want to mention that most of what I learned was picked up from other awesome crafters on YouTube, such as Jeremy from Black Magic Craft, among many others. Second, there's no right or wrong way to make terrain. At the end of the day, you need to imagine in your head what you want it to look like, and then try and make that happen with the tools and techniques that you have available to you. Even if it's not exactly what you imagined or saw someone else do, as long as you're happy with how they look in the end, that's all that matters. You made something awesome. Okay, now let's go for it. First up, you gotta think with boxes. Everything can be represented with boxes. If you want more complex features, and you add some sort of tetrahedrons, but now we're getting into geometry, so let's get back to the boxes. Figure out how big your house is going to be and how tall your floors are. I like to make mine 2.5 inches tall, or about 60 millimeters. And then you cut out cardboard strips that are of that dimension, and you're going to need lots of them. Now let's talk about medieval style houses. The main aesthetic when dealing with these houses is the timbered frame. First floors were sometimes made of brick, and subsequent floors jettied out from the previous to get more interior space. And armed with that overly simplified knowledge, I made some 3D printable parts for the brick first floor. Just connected these up with pre-cut cardboard sections, and now I have a box. Great! If you want to get fancy, just put multiple boxes together to make different complex shapes. And from there you can overlay foam core, EVA, or single cut XPS bricks to add the rest of the detail on the brick floor. I opted to do mine in patches and then fill the rest with joint compound with a sort of half plastered, half brick look. To start on the second floor, I just make another box, and just increase the size to represent a larger floor area. Since I want exposed timber framing, I'm going to cut a lot of strips. You can use any square profile you have here. I used XPS foam, but you can use balsa wood or EVA foam as well. The XPS foam is very easy to snap with my fingers, so I like it for this application. I like placing the jettied supports right under the floor here. In actuality, these would go all the way across and eventually be the floor joists that the floor rests on. Now we can frame the rest of the floor with timbers, and taking care to think where windows would go and other such features. At this step you can also run a wire brush along the timbers to give them extra texture. For the roof, I just make some triangle profiles and hot glue each one to the end where I want the gable ends to go. Then I measure out some thicker cardstock to make the slope sections. Chipboard works well here. The main shape is done now, and the rest of the detail is what gives the appearance a better look. The main features I wanted to add were windows, doors, a chimney, and some shingles. You can go crazy with the detail though, and keep adding things as you think of them. For example, on the L-shaped houses here, I added a stairway and a little balcony on the inside, with a railing and everything. The shingles can be cut from cardstock, or sculpted from XPS strips like I did here. I like this method since it's very fast, but they will look just as good from hand cutting them with scissors. Don't feel obligated to get these type of tools if you don't need them. Now that we have all the detail, I like to blend it all together and give it some texture all in one go. I take some of this 45-minute joint compound. Don't use the pre-mix stuff, you'll be waiting for days to dry. The kind that you have to mix yourself gives you the ability to make different consistencies as well. Here I make a lumpier mix and just add water until it's about the consistency of peanut butter. Then spread it all over the things I want to hide or blend, taking care to use water and paper or towel to dab away parts that I added way too much. Alright, great. Now let's base coat it. From here, I'm just going to point you over to Goobertown Hobbies videos on how to paint houses like this. He has videos on how he painted the awesome pre-made houses from Tabletop World. Hopefully this gave you some useful information and made this type of build seem a bit less intimidating. You can't just grab whatever supplies, tools, and techniques that you already know and have, and start building. Happy crafting.